everybody, and welcome back to the Tuesday Night Live. So happy 2024. We are back in class, and today we are getting back to our tarot lesson, but I know that not everybody that watches on Tuesdays is all into the tarot. So what we're actually going to be doing is talking about tarot, but within the broader topic of the four elements. So the four elements, as you guys know, I'm going to be showing us these from Marcella Kroll's Sacred Symbols Oracle deck. We have air over here on TikTok and YouTube, the symbol for air, the symbol for earth, which is opposite, inverted, the symbol for fire, and the symbol for water. So these alchemical symbols are really the four pillars of our reality. So before we talk about full into the tarot stuff, which we have talked a little bit about coming up to this point with the four suits. So let me grab a couple cards here. So as we know, or I'll just show you here. All right, so this is going to come from my moon book for a second, even though we're talking about the tarot, but as we know, the four elements, here we go. So these four elements, they also line up with the four astrological signs. And as we know, this four also lines up with the four phases of the moon. It goes from the new moon to the waxing, to the full, to the waning. And this is the same four phases that we see within a woman's menstrual cycle. This is her menstrual week, the week that she bleeds. The week after is the follicular. That after that is the ovulation. And then the ovulation and then the luteal. And then from the luteal, which is basically the PMS week, we go back into it. But it's not only these four things that we see this pattern with. So we have these four elements, the four phases of the moon. We have the four seasons. So when it comes to the seasons, air is spring. Sorry. Winter is earth. Water is summer. And fire is autumn. Okay. So we also have the four directions of the world: north, south, east, and west. So this number four is something that is really powerful in our reality. And I've talked a little bit about this before. Isn't there five elements? So ether is technically the fifth element. And when we get into tarot, we'll talk a little bit more about that, because the four elements are represented in the minor arcana. Some say that the major arcana is the fifth element of ether. So what we're talking about, though, we're talking about the four elements, because are we there yet? Are we really there for the ether, or is humanity still at these four? So let me also show you some of this. Go back to the tarot cam. As you guys know, this is coming from my my domestic tarot. Where are we? Okay. So the four suits. So we have four suits in tarot. This idea of four, actually, before we get into that, I want to remind you guys of something that I've talked about on a lot of different of these lives. And okay, so we've had this concept of the evolution of consciousness and the levels of consciousness that you would evolve through. Now, we've talked about this before. I've seen Matthias De Stefano break this down really well. I loved the way that he broke it down. So you can't comment on YouTube. I can see your comment over here. So basically, the source energy is number one level of consciousness. So the source of everything. So for you, that could be God, that could be the universe, that could just be a source energy, that could be this creator energy. So unity is one, the oneness, the whole. That's what we started with. Then consciousness, oneness, source, God, whatever you want to say, became two, split into duality. This is when the one, the whole, became light versus dark, positive versus negative. We became two. Now, as we know, a cell, like a single cell, will split into two. Now, these two will split to three and then quickly to four, because they're both going to split. So there'll be a second that there's three and then a second that there's four. So this is the stages of kind of evolution that we've seen it before. So it's like from unity to duality to trinity. So we go from the one to feminine masculine child. So this is where we also see in the evolution of human consciousness, this trinity thing came about a lot with Jesus, because he was the Son of God. The Trinity, we're supposed to believe that the feminine is a ghost. So Father, Son, ghost. Don't know where this other thing could possibly be. So it breaks into the Trinity, and then it breaks instantly into four. So once we get the Trinity, it instantly will become four. And then four, it is believed that when consciousness then breaks into its fourth, it becomes the four elements. Or some stories talk about being the four Elohim, the elements, the Elohim. These four Elohim are sometimes seen as four angels. This is why sometimes when we look at old maps, very old maps of the world from like over 500 years ago, they'll have four corners of it, and there'll be four archangels on the corners. And then if you get into some metaphysical beliefs, they believe that the angels and the archangels are part of the creators of physical reality. Whether you believe they're angels or not, these four elements are the pillars of physical reality. So in order to create the physical reality, we have these four elements. So we go from unity to duality to trinity to the four elements. And the four elements is what creates everything in our reality. So that's the kind of importance of four. Let me see if there was some more that I had here. Okay. And another aspect of this too is really the creation cycle. So we see these four elements within the creation cycle, but then we have this creation cycle being mirrored back again within our life. So what we have is air. Okay, so air is thoughts. Okay, so from thought to desire, fire, to earth, which is the material, the results. So you had the thought, you got the burning desire, you've brought it into the physical, and now water. Water is flow, water is change, water is the emotion, water is also, in a way, water can be seen as of the four elements of time, which is crazy. The fourth one is time, just like the fourth dimension is time, right? So in some of the ways that we see water being represented by time is definitely with the tides of the ocean. So the tides of the ocean are pulling, this is literally an aspect of time. So water then brings us into the next level of creation, where then, okay, now it starts as a thought again, and it will go around. So these four symbols coming together. And then what we see too, when you look at the symbols, they mirror each other. So earth and air mirroring each other. So you see air is the one with the little line where the air would be. You see this one is the little line where the earth would be. This is a great way for us to remember when you see these alchemical symbols, which is which. This is air. The little line is where the air is. The little line is where earth is. Fire is the easiest of all, because the little triangle looks like, a campfire or something. And then water, to be honest with me, when I don't see, it doesn't get so much of a relation. I know there was only four and somebody had to be the last one. But with the water, at least we know that it is opposite of fire. So you remember fire, and then the opposite is going to be water, right? Fire and ice. So then you would just flip that. Oh, thank you for the super chats, Emma. Oh, yes, Natasha, that's so true. Water holds memory for all of time. That's very interesting too, the way that water actually can hold things, almost preserve things in a way, right? Like, look, the Titanic is still under the water. Obviously there's salt and stuff, and salt is in the alchemical stuff too. So when it comes to our wonderful, lovely tarot, we have been talking a lot in the first 3 parts of this YouTube series about the major arcana. So today we're going to step into the minor arcana. So when you get major arcana cards, like for example, what do I have here? The Tower card. The Tower card represents fire. It is a fire card of the deck. And as we see, oftentimes the fire, it's raining fire actually in this. So all of the cards are representing stuff, and I'm going to show you guys, I have some cool flashcards where we're going to go through a bunch of them. But to start, we've been talking about the major arcana. The major arcana is the major aspects of your life. So this is like your big hero's journey. Now, the minor arcana is your day-to-day life. So when you're pulling out minor arcana cards, we know that this is relating to what's happening right now. What is my situation right now? This is not about like my big grand jury of life. This is today and this week. This is what I focus on, and this is how I move forward. So the minor arcana, as you guys also know, mirrors playing cards. So let's pull those up. Okay, come back to our little tarot cam. As you guys know, you could get my domestic tarot workbook in the link below. You can also get my MOONBOOK, which the 2024-2025 one just came out. It's basically exactly the same, so don't worry if you've already had it. It just has some 2025 dates added to it. Okay, so we have the 4 suits. We have wands. Well, this is just here. We have wands, pentacles, swords, and cups. Okay, let's start with pentacles. Okay, so the pentacles is the element of earth. Pentacles is earth. Okay, guys? And as we know, the pentacles, they look like a little pentagram. This is the coin. The coin, the material, okay? So the earth symbol. This is also representing the earth signs, the physical world, and it's also the same as the diamonds. So that makes sense, right? So pentacles are like coins. Coins and diamonds are going to be the same. So if you have a regular deck of playing cards, and you wanted to like get a little advice on your situation that you're in right now, you could use that instead of a minor arcana. You could use playing cards. So for example, Ace of Pentacles would be Ace of Diamonds. Okay, so qualities that you might be embodying or need to call in. So this is specifically connected to when the pentacles are showing up in your readings. However, because the pentacles embody the entire element of the earth and physical reality, we also can use these when we're thinking about the elements. And okay, so resourcefulness, being service oriented, being down to earth, being efficient, being sensible, reliable, persistent, thorough, materialistic, money-minded, selfish, or insensitive, because as we know, both things can go either way. There's a lot of amazing things in the physical world, and then there's also a lot of materialistic, money-minded, and selfish things in the world, and it's always a balance between these. The areas of life that we're dealing with when we're dealing with the element of earth, but especially when we're dealing with it in tarot with pentacles, we're dealing with businesses, possessions, money, property, inheritance, real estate, wealth, savings, talents, training, education, the physical body, health, work, valuables, skills, management, results, financial security, practicality, construction, nature, domestic matters, and emotional security. So if any of those, as I was reading it off, were popping out to you, you know, the universe is always communicating with us through synchronicity. So for some of you, maybe us talking about this, talking about Earth, talking about Pentacles, this is, you know, maybe sparking something in you from some of your recent tarot readings, or exploring the cards, some things that pop out to you. Oh, thanks for complimenting my split screen. My hard work of working with OBS. Okay, so this is about worldly concerns, long-term investments, daily routine, and status. So any of these things could be coming up when an Earth card shows up, or when you're seeing things. Every deck is always doing this too. So sometimes you might have a deck that, instead of using the suits, only uses the elements. Now, what if you haven't had any? See, now also if you have a lot of Earth in your chart, because these things are archetypal, these things are blueprints. Earth is a blueprint. So basically these elements, these alchemical elements, are blueprints. So let's say you are a Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo. You're going to be embodying a lot of these. These are going to be elements that are important to you, important in your life. So let's say you don't have any Earth in your chart, or let's say you keep pulling cards and you're not getting any Pentacles. That doesn't mean like, oh, okay, you're broke. You know, it's not that straight, like forward in that way. So why do Pentacles keep showing up first? Material gain, focusing on earthly success and inheritance, physical self-indulgence. Maybe you're being too much in your physical. Maybe you're worrying too much about your physical, your money, your pleasures, things only in the 3D. What if they're not coming up in your readings? There could be a career transition. You could be lacking resources. There could be financial instability, or you might just not need any advice in that area of your life. So we know when it comes to the element of Earth and when it comes to Pentacles, we're dealing with safety, security, abundance, prosperity, strengths that you hold, and the things that you love, okay, in the physical. So let's take a look while we're on the element of Earth. Now, these are some cool flashcards. So I'll show them. No, they're going to look better on this camera. Okay. I wanted the holographic. The holographic was a terrible idea for this. Okay. So here's these flashcards that I have. And I know I have suggested to some of you guys that if you wanted to learn tarot, what elements for Capricorn. So Capricorn is an earth sign. So all of these things dealing with pentacles, they're going to be associated with work, finances, domestic life, giving guidance regarding personal goals, money, family, and wealth. So now all the cards, though, do associate with the signs, even the major arcana as well. So I'm going to show you some of those. So here we have the World card, remember? And then see, we have all of these pentacles that are showing up. Let me try to find the major arcana that relates to this. Okay, the Devil card. The Devil card is one of the Earth connected major arcana cards. So we see why that is, right? That's the physical world. This is the physical world. The Devil card is representing the worldly pleasures, the finances, the things. This is a dark aspect. This is a shadow aspect of the physical world. We also have the Hermit being kind of retreating, right? Retreating into his knowledge, into being service-oriented and resourceful. These other aspects of the material world that are not focused on money and things like that, but focused on being resourceful, being down to earth, being grounded, having long-term ideas, long-term commitments, having worldly concerns. These are other aspects that we see in the Hermit card. The Hierophant. The Hierophant is another another card dealing with the element of earth. And then we're seeing here, you know, this is obedience. This is also being conservative, seeking advice. Now, this is more metaphysical. And, you know, the major arcana cards are very they're so like in depth. So just like you remember when we were all these other weeks, oh, here she is, dealing with the High Priestess card. You know, the High Priestess card is representing water, of course, but then there's a lot of other elements that are involved in it. So a lot of times these cards are dealing with more than just one element, you know, but they have one element that they're ruled by. But like, say, for example, also here, the Empress. Like the Empress is earth, and we see all this earth growing around her like crazy and super. This is all about abundance and prosperity. Abundance and prosperity, these are all things that are the holographic cards they're a little bit failing me, but they're fun to look at on the eye. Okay, let's move on to the Suit of Cups. So we've got water. We've got water, guys. Okay, all my water people out here. So we have Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So as we know, this is the sign of emotion. This is the emotional world, okay? And these 4 elements are like 4 different worlds, right? We have our 3D physical world. We have our mental world, which is in our head. We have our emotional world, which is in our heart. And then, which one did I forget? Fire, the wands. Yeah, that's like spiritual. It's spiritual world, but that's also your desires. Your desires, that's your higher purpose. Driving your, it's similar. So this is what's interesting, is that like we see that the fire and the water are similar symbols. They're also similar in a lot of ways, not only in being opposite, but this is emotions. But this is emotion in a way too. This is desire. This is passion. This is drive. This is caring about stuff. So these are fiery emotions. This is pushing forward. This is also similar to the physical world because it's action. So fire is one of the elements that embodies a lot of qualities from the other one as well. So, but we'll get into that when we get into wands next. Okay, cups. The cups are associated with emotions, intuition, relationships. They can advise you with love, art, and your highest or lowest emotions. So when water is coming up in someone's chart, or when cups are coming up, all right, cups. Even though the court card wasn't a great example, we'll get into the court card stuff at the end. That's like very advanced, and I would say we're not going to worry about that maybe in any of these episodes, but we will do a little quick, because I have a really cool book about it that I'll share with you guys before we're done, about how the elements work with the page, the king, the queen, and the knight. So the elements work differently with those cards. Okay, so with the cup, we know this is water. The way that you're going to remember this is a cup holds water. This kind of looks like a little goblet, a little cup, right? Cup holds water. Water is emotions. And like Natasha said, water also holds memory. Memory connected to emotions. Okay, so this is dealing also with, if you were using playing cards, this would be the Suit of Hearts. So Queen of Hearts, you know, there is no page of hearts. Okay. So things that you'll be embodying when you're having cups coming up in your readings, or when you're having things connected to the water element coming up in your life. Now, remember, the water element is also very heavily connected to the moon. The moon is what controls the water and pulls the tides. So these things, if you're having a lot of moon symbolism in your life, if you're having a lot of water symbolism in your life, you're having a lot of cups and hearts, these things are all pointing to the same stuff of emotion. So this is also dealing with relationships, love, happiness, celebration, any type of partnership or commitments, emotion, fantasy, surrealism, artistic exploration. This is aligned with emotion. Creativity, sensitivity, nurturing others, being relationship oriented, being romantic, being impressionable, being imaginative, compassionate, empathetic, and having psychic intuition. These things are all connected with the element of cups and water. It's going to deal when, so say, let's say cups are showing up in your readings. What element of your life is this advising you on? This is dealing with your personal life. This is dealing with gut feelings. So if you're getting a lot of cards coming up that are showing you cups and you've had a lot of gut feelings lately, this is a little indicator to go with that, okay? Premonitions, this is dealing with your inner voice, spiritual experiences, love, romance, relationships, marriage, friendships, infatuations, sexual partners, love for animals, spiritual practices, music, art, beauty, dreams, and the unconscious mind, okay? Now, what if they keep popping up in your readings? What if the cups are always popping up in your readings and whenever you're pulling cards, this is what you're getting? This is going to be, there's an emphasis maybe on some family gatherings at the time, maybe some parties, maybe some celebrations. Also, it could be about maybe you're managing a lot of different relationships. Maybe you have a lot of different friendships that are taking a lot from you. Maybe you have romantic partners. I don't know why that keeps coming up, you guys. Every time we do these classes, what are you doing? So having multiple relationships or some relationships taking like a lot of space and time and energy and emotions from you. If they're not coming up in your readings at all, maybe there's emotional distance, or maybe you're not having your emotional needs met in a way in your day-to-day life. Okay. So let's take a look at some of the, where are you? Here we go. Some of the cards ruled by, oh no, sorry, grabbed the wrong deck. Okay. Some cards ruled by water, like just like what we said, the High Priestess. The High Priestess. And then all of these cups. 10 of Cups, this is excitement. 5 of Cups, this is conflict. These are emotions. These are all dealing with emotions and partnership. 2 of Cups, dealing with partnership. This one, dealing with choices, going with your intuition, deciding being in flow state. 6 of Cups, nostalgia, romance, partnerships, friendships, memories, emotions. 7 of Cups, being able to leave, the emotions of walking away. 3 of Cups, celebration, coming together. The 4 of Cups, being bored, indifferent. These are all emotions. That's what Cups is like, one of the easiest to me. I think Cups is like the easiest suit always because it's just so easy to pinpoint exactly what everything means. Okay. The Moon, not a shocker that this is connected to the, this is one of the major arcanas that are connected with the element of emotions. The Death card also, this is dealing with change. We're seeing that with the element of water. Water is changing all day long. The tides are changing. This is like, it's always moving. So this is another thing, this transformation, this dawn of a new era, this whole new day. This is another thing about water, is that it moves in cycles. So we can see also transformation in that. The Hanged Man is another one that is embodying the element of water. And this one is actually a lot to do with the stillness of water in a way too. This like hanging in suspension, this hanging in contemplation, this kind of not knowing what the next step is, but not being afraid of it, being just casually hanging there unbothered. This is also showing us like the calmness of water, the calmness of emotions, because calm is an emotion too. And the Chariot. Now, it's not surprising that all 3 of the cards that are dealing with the moon, that are being ruled by the moon and Cancerian energy, are all going to be connected. Now, see, this is showing higher emotions. The Chariot is showing us the bravery, the determination to be able to move forward. This is going to those gut feelings and, yeah, like going into the emotion of having the confidence to be able to proceed away from the security of the castles in the background. Okay. Relationships and intuition are big aspects of your readings for the past month. That's a cool looking deck. Oh, thank you. It's kind of like a flashcard deck. So I got one because, as you guys can see, I bought it because it looked like it perfectly went with with my domestic tarot workbook. Okay. All right, so the suit of wands, the element of fire. Okay, so we see this like, you remember the triangle is the easiest element to remember, okay, because this one, it just looks like a little campfire flame. Okay, so here we go. Wands are going to be dealing about action, initiative, invention. They can move you through life. They can advise you when to act and when to be patient. So when the wands are showing up in a reading, this is showing us work, determination, going forward. Okay, so what is this dealing with? The element of fire, we know, deals with the signs of Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And we also know that this is dealing with the element of, the spirit world. Not necessarily like the spirit world, like where ghosts are living, but our own spiritual world. So, because as we know, this was dealing with the emotional world, and this was dealing, where is it? And then this was dealing with the physical world. Earth was dealing with the physical world. Okay. So fire. Fire is dealing with inspiration, charisma, energy, self-confidence, being cheerful, being outgoing, vitality, enthusiasm, being fun-loving, entrepreneurial, leadership roles, impulsiveness in the areas of life. So when the element of fire is coming up a lot in your life, maybe people with fire signs, or maybe when you're doing readings, the wands keep popping up. That's when you're dealing a lot with fire energy. What are the areas of your life that are of concern? So that's going to be travel, could be one of those things, intellectual adventures, holidays, spiritual inner voyages, journeys of the imaginations. This could be like shamanic journeying. This could also be like a psychedelic journey. It could also be rooted within physical as well, but the spirit and dreams within physical, meaning like our work ambitions, what we dream to be in the future, our future selves, being a risk taker, being able to self-express, being able to set the direction in our life and follow it, being able to also negotiations and speculation falls under this as well, because this is all part of that kind of decision making. And this is also dealing with human willpower. So the element of fire and the element of the suit of wands deal with human willpower, which makes sense. Ego, personality, and self-image makes sense. Leo, Aries, Sag. Unstoppable desire and determination. Now, if wands are coming up in your readings a lot, you might be having a creative streak. You might have a lot of momentum around a project. A power struggle or a work-related issue might be happening. If they're not showing up, there could be writer's block or a creative block. You could be feeling unmotivated. There could be circumstances that are out of your control. So this has to do with creative projects, discovery, free will, getting things done that need to be done. So it's really like the fire is amazing, because fire is a physical thing, but it's very like air and etheric. So it kind of embodies the elements of other elements within itself, which makes sense why when we're talking about it in the spiritual way, or in the way that it does deal with emotions, but not with emotions like water does, because it deals with determination, it deals with drive, it deals with our passions, what we care about, which is different. But then it also deals with our non-physical world, because it's like, okay, the fire is the spark within you that could start a spiritual journey, or the spark within you that could start $1 million company. It's this spark. And that's a good way to remember it, because the element of fire embodies a lot of different things that seem like maybe they would fall into one of the other categories. But actually, you can remember it when it's like that spark, something that you need, like, that spark, kick this off, get this started. That's a good way to remember when it's about fire. Let's take a look at the cards. Okay. Some cards that are connected to the element of fire. Obviously, everything within the suit of wands, but then also some within the major arcana. So we have the Judgment card. Not surprising that this transition and changes from one state to another, from one place to another, Judgment, where you see these people are like, the dead people are coming out of the ground, and then they're going to be like basically brought up to the next stage. This is, fire is very much about transformation. Fire is one of the easiest elements to see the transformation in, because the way it can grow, the way it can go out. So let's see, wands, we're seeing all of this being about determination. We're seeing in these images here, we're seeing this person is obviously clearly determined on a horse. See this is clearly showing fire, ambition, fearlessness, courage, strength. Look at this. Okay, Three of Wands. This is showing us also, look at them. They're dreaming out for what's ahead. They're dreaming. Their ambitions are out there. All of their desires are out there. I mean, honestly, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I feel like with the Eight of Wands, they could have done a little better. I'm just being honest with you. I think they could have done a little better for the Eight of Wands, but that's just me. Anyway, so these just 8 sticks on this card represent communication, good news, ideas, moving forward, getting results. I think they could have done a little better on that card. I feel like that's one card that, because, you know, I told you guys, you'll always be able to figure out the meaning of a card from the imagery. Kind of not this one. I mean, maybe, yeah. I mean, they're getting somewhere. The sticks are getting somewhere, but you know, okay. So see this one here, the 5. So remember when in numerology, 5, when we talked about numerology and symbology in the last part of this series, we know that 5 is about conflict. So look at this, the 5 of Wands is showing us conflict, but it's conflict around desire, struggle, competition, disagreeing, obstacles, all of this stuff. So we're seeing 5 as conflict. Okay, 2 of Wands. We're seeing this. Look at this. He has the world within his hands. He has the world within his hands. He's dreaming about all that is out there. He has the stability of 2 wands, the achievement, the planning. This is him, the ambition that is in him in 2 before he embarks on his journey. The 9, look at him. He's holding on to the wand for strength. So this is really also showing that drive, that ambition, that push, that oomph. You know, he's holding on to that stick. He's exhausted, but he's holding on and he's standing up in the 9 of Wands. The 10 of Wands, this is showing us the completion. Look, he has everything, all the steps, everything together. He looks like he's at the top of the hill. This is about completion, but it's also about carrying a burden, because this is not the type of, when we have 10 come up in the other ones, like 10 of Cups is a great celebration. You know, 10 of Cups is a wonderful celebration. Now, this one is not as much about the celebration of a completion. This is more about the responsibility, the burden, the carrying it up a hill. The work has been done. The work is getting done. Okay. Ace of Wands. Aces are always going to be dealing with the new. So when we see within the cup, within the suit of Wands, within the fire suit that is dealing with desire, ambition, and these things, this is new desires, new ambitions, new creative endeavors. Okay, we have the 4 of Wands here. Okay, so we're seeing the 4. Look at them. They are happy. This is peaceful. This is in harmony. This is the last step, you know, because then the 4 is before 5, obviously. But 5 is the conflict. So sometimes the 4 is kind of that calm before the storm. So we have that peace. Also, not shocking that in the major arcana, the Sun card is with the fire element. So of course the sun represents fire. We see that here, but also with the sun card, we're dealing with achievement, optimism, vitality, things coming to fruition, things working out for the best. So that achievement, that is coming back to the element of drive, of desires, of ambition, of making your dreams come to life. The Tower card is also a part of our fire element. So with this one, this is also that kind of transformation and rebirth, that igniting the fire, that spark. Again, as we can see, there's going to be something of the element on there too. So we see the top of that is on fire. This also is dealing with like freedom and purification. So basically, you're being purified of something. Sometimes it has to be burned, you know? Temperance card, we know that this is also dealing with the element of fire because he has the element of fire, the triangle symbol on the center plate of his chest. And then this is also dealing with, you know, this in the temperance, it's dealing with it in a little bit of a different way. You know, it's not dealing with the like boom, 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 push, drive, 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 because not all of achieving your goals is about fire, burn, 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 even of the fire signs. We have Aries, Leo, and Sag. Sag is a very different type of fire than Leo or Aries. Aries is that boom, 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 let's keep going. But the temperance is a lot closer to this like Sagittarian energy, which I think actually is what it's represented by. Yeah, it's represented by the Sagittarian symbol. So basically, this is more of that Sagittarius fire, which I'm going to show you guys. I have something about that in my moon book here. Okay, so yeah, Sagittarius. So for the fire signs in the moon book we're looking at, so Aries is the cardinal or season starter sign. So it kicks off the zodiac and it kicks off the season of spring and it kicks off things. This is why Aries are starters. Sometimes they're shit starters. Sometimes they're business starters. It's going to be all different things. So they're the ones to kick off the fire. They're the one to start the fire, ignite it. They're the one to put the gasoline to the match. The Leo is ruled by the sun. The sun is always burning. The sun burns bright. The sun is not ignited. The sun doesn't blow out. The sun is, okay? So then Sag is the mutable, the changeable fire sign. So this one, it doesn't start its fire and it doesn't sustain the fire, but it is the fire in the distance. So it is this ongoing fire that is in the distance that you can see out. And that when you see that far distance from the Sagittarian energy, you're like, oh, perspective. If you're standing there, if you're starting a fire, you have a different perspective than if you're sitting on the beach and there's a fire out over by the pier. You're going to have a different perspective. And that's the difference between those. And similar things for the other signs. Okay, we can go back to that. Let's move on to the element of swords. To the suit of swords and the element of air. Air is, and swords is an incredible, amazing element. It's usually not the one that in the astrological stuff, I have if you take all of this, like 12, if you look at your chart as having 12 planets, including everything, including Chiron, including all of this stuff, it has like 12 in total, if you're looking at it that way. Mine is equal 3 of each. However, my more air stuff is a little bit more pushed out. So maybe that is why I'm very like, well, I'm a Virgo Mercury. So, but then again, that doesn't even, yeah. Mercury's air, but Virgo's not. Okay, so the element of air, this is dealing with Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Now, something that's very interesting, I'm sure a lot of you guys might know. Gemini is twins, right? Libra is 2 scales. And then Aquarius is the water bearer holding the 2 jugs of water, holding 2 jugs of water. So we're seeing this duality when it comes to air signs and the air element. So we're dealing with things like this. Now, when we're dealing with duality, it's not only of good and bad, it's also the personal the intellect. So like the intellect, the logic, the reasoning, the clarity, the communication, verbal dexterity, these things are elements that come up when we're dealing with duality, not just good and bad, because good and bad, it's not on everyone's scale. So this requires mental agility. This requires mental mastery for us to be able to navigate the light and dark of this world. So when swords are popping up in your, I feel like we missed one. No, we didn't. Okay. So when swords are popping up in your readings, the areas of your life that this could be dealing with, maybe you're having too many conversations and not enough action. So this is the opposite, you know, wands is like boom, boom, boom. You're fucking doing all the actions. Now, with this air element, maybe there's too much communication, too much talk, and not enough to back it up. Maybe you could also be dealing with a lot of powerful ideas. Maybe these are really huge ideas. So sometimes, you know, so we talk about that the element of fire is going to be dealing with the sparking of ideas and stuff, but then this is dealing with the mental world. So this is a different aspect of that. This is dealing with like intellectual ideas. This is the difference between, you know, this is more of like what we're dealing with when we're talking about like the realms of stuff that like Elon Musk is dealing with. Whereas like this is a lot of like fiery invention stuff. This is more like intellectual invention. This is changing the way that reality is. Okay, so this is about big decisions, important choices, justice. As we know, justice is coming from the Libra energy. So air elements have a lot to do with justice, a lot to do with that right and wrong and duality and stuff. Moving on, obstacles, disagreements, separations, mental activities, verbal and written communication, and public relations. These are things that are dealing with air energy. So this is also dealing with when wands are popping up, and we see like here, like with the Two of Swords, this is dealing also with like your state of mind. So if you're getting a lot of swords, this could be your mental state. This could also be maybe you're not in the state of mind that you're usually in, and it's pointing some attention to that. This also has to do with protection and power, because when we're looking at a sword, what does the sword hold? The sword holds a lot of power. The sword is protection. This comes back to the mind though, because you could have a sword, but if you don't know how to use it, you're not really going to be able to protect yourself, right? You don't really have power if you don't know how to use the sword. This is why it's very important when we're talking about air and the mental world and things that are coming up in your life in these categories, because this could be letting you know like, oh, you need to get your mental sharpness up. Maybe it also air is going to be dealing with consciousness, because we're dealing with air, etheric, thoughts, communication. This can also sometimes the element of water will be dealing with that intuition communication, but then sometimes air deals with it too. Maybe not as much from like this maybe not as much from like the feminine intuition receiving, but this is more for like communication on the intellectual level, you know, like, but there is still spiritual elements to this. This still has to do with consciousness. This just has to do a little bit more with like, you know, within spirituality, there's people who are more right-brained and people who are more left-brained, but it's still very much spirituality. So, you know, you have some people that are like talking more about consciousness, and then some people that are talking about being more like heart-centered stuff. So that's what I'm saying with the air element. This is kind of a bit of the logical aspects of spirituality, like consciousness and evolution of things, of consciousness, of the soul. Okay. Swords keep coming up in your readings. You might be overwhelmed by something intellectual. You could have intense studying going on. Maybe you're taking in a lot of information or communication. Maybe there's legal matters with public relations or something going on publicly. What was interesting was I was covering the Harvey trial. I was getting a lot of swords. So it wasn't even my legal situation, but because I was going to court every day, I was getting a lot of swords. So what if swords are not coming up? There could be a lack of objectivity in your body, in your life. There could be a lack of reason or logic, and you could be getting lost in your imagination. And this is, like we said, this is dealing with your head over heart thinking. Okay. So head over heart thinking is going to be intellect, is going to be air. Heart over head thinking is going to be cups, is going to be water. Okay. Let's look at the air cards. Okay. Okay, so swords, we're seeing that this deals with mental. So what are we seeing in this card? We're seeing this guy. He's looking, he's plotting, he's trying to like see if he can get over on these people over here. That is mental. And it's 5, okay? So 5, as we know in the numerology, is conflict. This is mental conflict. He's trying to basically see if he's going to like kind of take advantage of these people, or if they have malicious intent, or does he have malicious intent? That one shouldn't be in there. Okay, so then we also have here the 10 of Swords. Once again, we know 10 is completion, but this one is completion in a mental aspect, but this is more so like something is done, it's breaking down, it's done, and we see the mental state here. He's all stabbed in the back, okay? Here, 2 of Swords. We see her eyes are closed and she has 2 swords under the moon. So we see the moon. So we know, again, this is dealing with the intuition and emotions through the imagery of the card, but actually, and it has water in the background. So it has the moon representing emotion. It has water representing emotion. However, this is a sword card. This is not an emotion card. This is about mental. So this is the mental and emotion come together. So this is long, hard thinking. This is, you could feel at a standstill. So this is feeling like something, right? But it's in your head that you're feeling. This might be like you're not sure about your path. You're not sure what's next. Okay. 4 of Swords, we have, he's resting, and these 3 swords are like right above him. He's not worried. And then he has a sword under him. So this is taking a break, being able to restore your health. We see what this means. This is like take a break. This could be mentally, especially. Number 9. The 9 of Swords. We have, you see, look, this is like a sleepless night. This is a person in bed that they can't sleep. They have all the swords on the wall. This is extreme stress. This is restlessness. So we're seeing this is similar to the emotions, but these are like emotions in the mind more so than the heart, right? These are not heart-centered emotions. Stress is not a heart-centered emotion. Overthinking is not a heart-centered thing. So this is what we're seeing, is that there's a lot of elements of stuff here that might fall into emotions. So you see how I'm kind of pointing out that like some of these things, you have to just take a little bit of extra thought to make sure that you are in the right category, because a lot of times mental stuff does deal with emotions, but it deals with those emotions like, you know, anxiety, stress. Okay. So the 3 of Swords here, this is dealing with sadness, emotional pain, breaking of relationships and things like that, alienation, heartbreak, very obvious to see from the thing. Now these though are more towards, and you see how these are very similar, like the emotions, they kind of bleed into each other, but they're also distinctive. And you see, because we're seeing the heart, we know that this is dealing with some type of emotion. Look, there's clouds and like rain coming off of it. So we know that this is dealing somewhat with the emotion, right? Because emotion, the suit of hearts and the suit of cups are the same. So we're dealing here. It's a combination of also emotion with the intellect. Okay, so then this. Ace of Cups, as we know, Ace is starting things, new things, making new decisions, kicking off. And we see this here. Look, there's a crown on it. There's things being grown from it. This is a good indicator of the things that you're thinking of are coming to fruition. We have this 7 of Swords. We see this person is stuck. They're feeling stuck, okay? Because we see we have the little pockets of water here. So we know that this is about dealing. So he's physically stuck, but it's more so about feeling stuck, overthinking that you're stuck, okay? Here, the 7, look, he's being deceptive and he's stealing and being sneaky. This is mental plotting. Here we have a man moving like a sick or sad person, or helping a person, getting them from another place. This is moving forward, pushing forward, being calm, being back on the water. This is just like, okay, look, I'm going with the flow. The star, as we know, this is the Aquarius thing. This is the water bearer with the two things. Okay, so this is, of course, the Aquarian swords energy. Also with the swords, we're seeing this, the Justice card. We have, this is the Libra card. So we have the Libra symbol of scales here. The Libra symbol of scales, and then we have the swords. It's embodying also that there's a sword. This is by the suit of swords. We have also the Lovers card. The Lovers card, surprising, huh? You might have would have thought that the Lovers card was going to be in the emotional one, but no, it's actually in the mental. And that's because this is the twins. This is the Gemini card. The Lovers card is the Gemini card. These are the twins. Okay, so we see we have fire here, we have water, we have clouds, we have earth, we have volcano, we have air, we have sun, we have everything in this. So this card is embodying all of the elements, but it's ruled by Gemini. So this is not only about the love of the emotions, this is about the decision of the emotion, contemplating, being mature enough to reach this level. It takes mental maturity to be able to reach a Lover's card. Anybody could get naked underneath the sun, okay, with a partner. Okay, anybody could do that. But it takes the mental determination to be able to come to Lovers. And then we have our Magician card, which, oh wait, no, we also have the Fool. The Magician and the Fool are both ruled by air, which makes sense, right? These are the two mental things. And we've talked so much about the Fool and the Magician that we don't have to get super into it in this one. But you can see how these are both ruling in the mental. Okay, so we're coming up in the hour, so I'm going to go really fast on this next part, especially because this is the part that I told you guys I was not going to cover. So this book is specifically about the court cards. So when we're dealing with court cards, it's kind of a whole different ball game, but you don't really have to read it like that. I don't have anything in the domestic tarot about that because domestic tarot is meant for you to learn how to read the cards. The court cards is when things do get more complicated, and you could just kind of use them however you see fit. Okay. I would like one more, but if not, that's okay. All right. All right. So we have court cards here. So one of the things that's really cool, the tarot, as you know, is so connected to Kabbalah, so much inspired by the Hebrew language and ancient Jewish mysticism. So there's so many connections with that type of stuff, with the you know, with the elements as usual, but let's see. We have this is really cool. This goes into the Tree of Life stuff. So this is like stuff we're not really going to get into right now because, or maybe probably ever, because that's kind of like, you're going to go, if you want to get into those levels, you go and like take classes from, you know, alchemy master people, you know. But you see that this lines up with the Tree of Life here. These are like spheres that would be within the Tree of Life. And we see the same thing. The world of manifestation, the physical world, that's the lowest. Right? Okay, the world of manifestation, the physical plane. Then we have the astral plane, the world of formation, which I guess is, what, fire? Oh, air, sorry. Okay. Okay, so then the astral, oh, that makes sense. The astral plane, yes, the mental plane. So we have the physical plane, the world of formation, the astral plane. Then we have the world of creation, creativity, the mental plane. And then the archetypal plane, which is the fire plane. And that's why I said, like, these are like when you start getting into the really advanced stuff, because this goes even beyond what we just said about like kind of like the four kind of basic elements of it. Okay. And this is getting into a lot of stuff, but this is what I wanted to show you. Let me find what I wanted to show you. Okay. So, okay. So, oh wait, this isn't the first one. Okay. So let's just use this one as an example. Okay. So you see here, so the queen, so actually each one of the roles represents a whole sign itself, a whole element itself. So queen is water. Queen is water. Okay. So Queen of Cups is water of water. Queen of Pentacles is water of earth. Queen of Swords is water of air. Queen of Wands is water of fire. You see, I'm telling you, I told you this was going to get complicated. That's why I'm not going to get all into we could just read the court cards for what they represent. But when you get into these deeper levels, if you want to go into higher levels and you're interested in that, this is something to keep in the back of your mind as you're learning this. So the king is fire, obviously, right? Of course, king. So how many kings do we have in the, zodiac, right? And so fire. So fire of wand. So King of Wands is fire of fire. King of Pentacles is fire of earth. King of Swords is fire of air. And King of Cups is fire of water. So you guys get the point. Like we said here, the knight is going to be air. And the earth will be the page. So Page of Pentacles is earth of earth. So these are some really interesting things when you go to the higher levels of being a little bit more advanced with tarot. You could still get everything you want out of it and more with any level of information that you have, any level of knowledge that you have. Hi. Any level of knowledge that you have with your cards, you'll be able to get useful information from them. So you don't need to know everything all at once. This was a lot of fun, guys. I enjoyed this today. Yes, exactly, Natasha. So the emotions of the mental world, the emotions of the material world. Okay, so let's just take a look at that before we go. Okay, right. So we're going back to my domestic tarot workbook. Let's go here to the court cards. Okay, so let's pull this up because this is kind of some stuff that I haven't explored that much with that, like what you're saying. So let's look it up. Let's see what happens. Let's go to, okay, I have Queen of Cups. No, okay, now I have Queen of Cups ahead of me. In front of me. So Queen of Cups, water of water. So if what Natasha is saying, which I believe is exactly the way that it is broken down, works out. So we would have the queen, she's going to be the emotions in emotional ways. Let's see. Okay. Queen of Cups represents compassion, warmth, kindness, intuition, being a healer, being a counselor, being supportive. When reversed, insecurity, too much, overly sensitive, being needy, fragile, dependent, or being in martyrdom, being a martyr. Okay, so this is nice. So then let's look at water of earth. So Queen of Pentacles. So this should be emotions maybe somewhat connected to not only the physical world, but to all of those other things that are embodied by the pentacles. Okay, so what is embodied by the Queen of Pentacles? Being generous, being caring, nurturing, being a homebody, being practical, being sensible, being luxurious. Look at that. So these are emotions dealing with the physical realm, dealing with being sensible, being grounded like earth. Okay, so one last thing. So that's kind of another way you could still use the same pattern to break down the meanings. I want to leave you guys with one little thing from the from the court cards. So pages are messengers. That's why all the pages are standing, because in ancient times, messengers would run to deliver important messages. So this is why, where's the page card? Oh, you see he's standing. They're all standing always because they had to run to deliver messages back in the day. Okay, so then the knights, do I have a knight here? The knights are always charging ahead. If you look at any of the knight cards, they're going to be charging ahead, and that's because they're all mounted on horses and they are actively on the journey of life. The queen cards, they all, and as we notice, all the queen cards are just like sitting so luxuriously, like see how she is here, right? The Queen of Swords right here. The queen embodies the traits of her suit and radiates that energy from the inside out. So this is what the queen does. The queen has embodied all the things of her suit, and then she becomes a master of it and oozes it out. Like when we talk about compassion, when we talk about generosity, when we talk about honesty, when we talk about being self-assured and confident, these are the 4 major things that are coming up in the 4 queens. Queens have a lot of life experience and have mastered their ideas coming to fruition. They've already figured that out. Now the kings represent the fully developed characteristics of each suit. So if the suit of cups is about emotions, the king represents the fully developed emotions. So the kings have journeyed through life and victoriously and are now at the peak of experience and wisdom. So you guys, literally got my first 4 decks in the last month, and the timing of these videos couldn't be more divinely timed. The amount of people who have told me that they just randomly got a deck before I started teaching this is just been so amazing. It's been so fun. I've heard this so many times over the last month, so this has been amazing. Someone asked, Susan asked, how long have I been doing tarot and when did I start? So someone asked me this and I was trying to remember, when did I start doing tarot? I didn't remember. And then when I thought about it after I got off the live, it was probably around 2013 or 14 that I bought my first deck. This is a card from one of those decks. It was called the Native American Tarot deck. And this is what the back of it looks like. Now I mostly use this deck as like, I use this deck as bookmarks, just because it was a nice introduction for me and I really felt more comfortable with it than the original tarot look, just because, you know, some of the imagery was very like occult. And when I was first getting interested in spirituality, I didn't feel super comfortable with some of the more like darker imagery. So that's why now I don't view it that way. Now, you know, my beliefs and everything have evolved so much over the years because I do believe in, the shadow self and more aware of those things. But so that was probably around maybe 2014 or something. I got that deck, but it was really hard for me to learn on it because it used different suits. So like instead of pentacles, it used shields. So then I was always kind of converting it, which is fine. You could totally convert them. And once you kind of have it easy in your mind, and especially when you're already thinking about the elements, everything always lines up. But so then I ended up getting, I don't remember when I ended up getting a real regular deck. But I don't really like do tarot for like, other people. I do it for myself. And I love, like, it's just so amazing. All of these images, the story behind it, the colors mean something. Every single detail means something. And that meaning lines up with alchemy, lines up with other schools of practice, lines up with nature, lines up. So it's like, that's when you know something is really divinely put together, is that like when you break it down, it always makes sense. At first, it's overwhelming when you first get into tarot because there's 78 cards. How am I going to remember all of these? But then you really kind of see the system in it and you're like, oh, this is not only not hard. This lines up with everything around us. Let me see if there was anything else that I wanted to add about, or any notes I had. Also the 4 states of matter, which were also, I wanted to mention when I was talking about the 4 things of physical reality. We also have solid, liquid, gas, and plasma, and those also line up with the 4 elements. Okay, so everybody, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I would love to give a special thanks to my Substack subscribers. Thank you to everybody who is subscribed. Like I said, if you're a free subscriber, you're going to get access to all the articles. Oh, I should have said this earlier. My class is going to be, I think, on January 7th. If you guys want to tell me in the chat right now if January 7th works for you or if I should do the following week. Let me see. The 7th or would be the 14th. I think I might do the 14th actually, because there's a holiday the next day. Yeah, I think, oh no, sorry, where'd the chat go? Here we go. Okay, I don't see anything here. So for my class, this class that we're going to be doing, I was going to do the 7th, but I actually think I'm going to do the 14th because a lot of people are going to be off for Martin Luther King Day in the States the next day. So I'm actually, since I haven't announced it yet, I'm going to switch it to the 14th. Okay, so my class on January 14th, you can join the class through being one of my Substack subscribers. So the free subscribers get access to all of my articles. I don't know if you guys read those last two posts, the posts that I just shared. I feel a weight off of me. So thank you so much, guys. That story about my ex-boyfriend getting possessed by a demon that I said I would never share. I did share written form on my Substack, and I actually feel really released from the situation finally, because not that I was like spiritually connected to it, just emotionally. I was just like still hurt by, hurt by what happened, but more so even hurt by the outcome of everything, which my, let's see. Yeah. So if anyone hasn't, oh, that's funny. Okay. So thanks you for posting all of this. Oh, thanks guys. So, yes. So if you haven't read my Substack so far, I'm starting off with sharing more about my personal journey, but then there's also going to be tarot stuff on there. And then that's where the class is. So anyone who's a paid subscriber, you're going to get an email with the Zoom link. And so membership for my Substack is $11 a month. And you will get access to the classes every month. So once a month, we're going to do a class together. And then you'll get access to the replay there. And then what's nice about it being on Substack, I used to always do it on Eventbrite, but then it disappears, you know, on Substack. Then we can all talk in the comments and keep the things going. And I'll be able to like, basically in the same spot, give you guys the questions, give the replay. You can always go. So it's $11 for a monthly membership. This supports me, supports my work, supports what I'm doing. So if you've enjoyed my work and want me to be able to expand and be able to do more, your $11 a month feeds a JK Ultra. But also what you get is joining the monthly class. So for this class, I'm really excited. For the beginning of the year, we're going to be doing a future self meditation. So we're going to be doing a meditation that we're going to access yourself in a future of this timeline, of this life, not a future lifetime, you yourself in the future. I did one for myself and for Chelsea the other day, and we did 5 years. So I really liked the 5-year plan. I feel like that one is good enough to give us enough of information, but it's not too far away that it doesn't seem practical. But as I'm like finalizing the stuff for the class. So it's going to be a future self meditation. The one that I did the other day with me and Chelsea, I saw myself. So this is actually the second time I have seen myself doing this meditation, actually the third time, but the second time I saw the exact same image. I saw myself on the same day that I saw myself 3 years ago when I went into the future. I went into the future with no specific year. The first time I did it 3 years ago. This time I went into the future 5 years and I saw the same day on both of them. And so that was really exciting. And then you can kind of connect with your higher self and we'll be able to get a little bit of information that'll help you. And then like future jumping. So it is like future jumping, but we're actually going to tap in to our own energy. So it's different, a little different than like say quantum jumping, where we just put ourselves onto that timeline. In this case, what we're going to do is we're actually going to ask your higher self to give some advice and things that we can implement right now. So it'll be a both. It'll be quantum jumping, but actually practical in the sense of some things. So if you guys haven't, jennifercarmody.substack.com. Everybody please subscribe. You'll be getting my updates. I'm going to be writing about stuff that I don't usually like to talk about, like a lot of my personal stuff that I don't talk about. And also there'll be the classes, and then we'll be able to do some Zooms and stuff like that. So thank you so much, guys. And yes, Chris, thank you for reminding me. If you download the Substack app, you can just press the play button in the right-hand corner, and it will just turn the whole, it'll turn the whole article into basically like a podcast, blog, post, audiobook type of thing. So they have really good AI to be able to translate it into audio. So for those of you who don't have maybe the attention span to sit down and read, you can listen to the articles on Substack. So thank you guys. Also, other ways that you can support me is getting my domestic tarot that we just worked with today, or my moon book that we also worked with today, or some of my merch, or of course my Substack, or just being your sweet, amazing selves. And always being so amazing and supportive with me is, it's amazing. You know, I'm so grateful to you guys. 2024, I know it's going to be an amazing year. 2023 was a great year. And that was so much thanks to all of you guys for supporting me and allowing this to happen and making my dreams come true. And always being there and reposting my stuff and sharing it. Ooh, yeah. So, I'm going to be posting more information about it. And, John Murdoch says, what drives you? Well, fire sign. Well, we can end with that. I am a fire sign. I am a Leo. So I am very passion driven, very motivated person. But what drives me is, I mean, I'm really on a quest for information, and I want everybody to have the information. I am very bothered by the idea that information was kept from people for so long. I don't know if it's like some weird past life thing that I feel like, how dare they keep all this information from all these people? So you could probably see why I spend so much time and effort, energy, my own, money, time, effort, and energy pouring into, sharing information with people that can help them, that can change their life, that can give them extra tools and stuff that really was just like not allowed to be shared with regular people. Like, you had to be from a certain bloodline or a certain class to even have access to this information. And like, we're so lucky that like these like 4 symbols, I can't imagine, because we know alchemy used to be illegal, and that like this now is something that we can just do so freely. We can just so freely I'm just holding pictures of them, talking about them on the internet, just put them on TikTok. It's just crazy how far everything's come. So it's amazing. Oh, you guys, thank you. Oh, you're so sweet. All right. Well, thanks so much. How do you know you aren't being messed with on this app? Messed with by who? The people who comment are the ones who mess with me the most. You saw China. It's the people who get triggered in the comments that really mess with you. Okay. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here. Love you. And I'll see you soon.